The Rangers got it done in overtime to go up 2-0 in their series against the Hurricanes, and now the series heads down to Carolina. So we got Greg Wasinski, senior NHL writer at ESPN, to hop on the line and talk about the series that just keeps on giving. The vibes are high in the city, Greg. I'm loving it. These Rangers are looking good, my man. How you feeling today?
Dude, listen, man. I'm a Devils fan, as many people know. It's tough to be reliving 1994 in a lot of ways, but between the Rangers and the Knicks and the way the Rangers are rolling right now with how many consecutive wins they have to start the playoffs, it's kind of hard to not think about the anniversary of that Cup win and think about how they might be celebrating that anniversary come June.
Yeah, the Knicks, Rangers, I got to get my suntan lotion because we are outside this spring. I got to get your initial reaction to Vincent Trocheck's game winner and give us your thoughts on that Game 2 instant classic.
Yeah, man, I thought that it was appropriate the Rangers scored the game winner on the power play, because that's been the difference in this series so far. You know, in Game 1, we saw them score 2 power play goals and only needed 23 seconds to do so. That was a huge difference maker in that game. We go to Game 2. They tied a game on the power play on Chris Kreider's goal. They win the game on the power play in overtime, double overtime on Trocheck's goal. And in that series, their power play being as good as it is, and their penalty kill, more importantly almost, being as good as it is, shutting out the Carolina Hurricanes in all 10 attempts on the power play that they had, to me is the story of the series. So great goal, totally appropriate that it happened on the power play, and the Rangers are rolling.
Where did that game rank in your top NHL playoff games?
Well, I mean, this season, probably number one this season, because it's actually, if I had to grade the first round, okay, I'd probably give it like a C+, B-. We didn't really have any upsets out of Colorado over Winnipeg. We only got 2 Game 7s out of the whole thing. And then if you talk about like the Rangers, I mean, it's hard not to think back to that game that they had against the Penguins a couple of years ago that went on and on and on forever with the goalie injuries and the whole thing. But as far as quality of play goes, I think that might have been the best game of the playoffs so far.
Very interesting. All right, we have Mika Zibanejad as the hero in Game 1. Vincent Trocheck's the hero in Game 2. And I'm not saying that to disrespect what guys like Chris Kreider and Artemi Panarin have done, but this is a team full of stars, man. Are the Rangers the most complete team in the playoffs?
I would say they're playing the most completely right now.
Okay.
You know, when you look at the way that Igor Shesterkin played last night with the number of saves and being, you know, their best penalty killer throughout the series, when you think about the depth and the way the depth has played, you know, their power play has been great. Their penalty kill has been great. 5-on-5, I still think Carolina's had the advantage in the series, but it hasn't really mattered quite yet. You know, the way they're rolling right now, nobody's playing better than them, I'd say. But there are probably a couple of teams, Florida, Dallas, Colorado, maybe Edmonton, that could speak to being the most complete team in the league right now.
Who's some guys on the team, or who's a guy on the team that's played some great minutes and done some of the dirty work, but we may not hear his name at the end of the night on SportsCenter, but fans and his teammates will appreciate what he's doing on the ice?
I think Barclay Goodrow's had a pretty good playoff so far, and then in the minutes that he's played, you know, obviously a depth player, a depth role, but I thought he's been playing well. You know, that's the thing about the Rangers right now, is that, you know, they've been able to use their depth even when they shorten the bench like they did in the overtimes last night. They're getting effective play out of every line. And it's going to be important. The one thing we haven't talked about yet is like this series shifting back to Raleigh, which is where they're going to really need their depth to shine. The Hurricanes at home during the tenure of Rod Brind'Amour as their head coach, I believe, are 25-11 in Raleigh. They're real good there. They average less than 2 goals a game against at home in that span. So we're looking at a situation where this series is shifting to a place where it should favor Carolina, where it's tougher to score. And when we start talking about some of these depth players, that's their time to shine, because the Hurricanes will get the matchups they want against the big guns. So it's going to be the lesser lights that are going to have to shine in these games down in Carolina.
Well, let's stay on that subject because, like you said, that guard magic will not be with them on the road. So other than the depth, what are you going to be keeping an eye on when it comes in terms of the Rangers for Game 3 and Game 4 down in Raleigh?
Well, one thing to keep an eye on is the amount of power plays they're getting. I mean, the Hurricanes didn't say it explicitly last night after Game 2. In fact, their coach Rod Brindamore wasn't even asked about the quality of some of the penalties that they were called for. But their captain Jordan Staal did raise some eyebrows by saying the Rangers tend to fall down pretty easily, or at least inferring that. And by that, he's saying that some of the penalties they were able to draw in Game 2 maybe shouldn't have been penalties. In particular, I think he was, reference to Jake Gensel and Adam Fox at one point. But even the cross-checking call on Brady Shea in the double overtime, I thought was kind of a soft call as well for it being that point in the game. So I am curious to see whether there is any after effect of the Hurricanes being like, hey, these guys keep falling down in front of us and getting penalties, insofar as the number of opportunities the Rangers are going to get next game.
They flop in hockey? Wow. It's like soccer going, NYCFC going on around here then.
Listen, I have no problem with flopping. I've said for years, man, that's a skill. That's an art. Yeah. If you can draw a penalty and not get whistled for it, more power to you, especially when your power play is like the second best power play on the planet right now. Like if I'm the Rangers, I'm doing the Greg Louganis all over the ice. I'm diving left and right trying to get penalties so I can get my power play back out there.
Hey, Greg, thanks for hopping on with us, man.
Anytime.